Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. The decision to leave office is always a difficult one. The decision to disagree with the Prime Minister, someone who I want to support in good times and bad, is always a difficult one. But politicians are sent here to make difficult decisions. No one's forced to be a minister. And with high office comes responsibility. And no responsibility is greater than that to protect our borders and to secure us from untold damage as a result of mass illegal migration. We've made huge progress as a country over the last year as a result of the work that the former Home Secretary, the Prime Minister and I have done, and I wish my right honourable friend, the new Home Secretary and his ministers all the very best to take that work forwards. Our record stands amongst the best of any European country. We have, as my right honourable friend said, reduced the number of small boat arrivals to our country by a third. That compares to a third increase across Europe. And on Europe's southern border in Italy, an almost 100% increase. So the plan that the Prime Minister set out a year ago is working. It is the most comprehensive plan of any European country. And we've just heard from the opposition that they have no plan at all. They said that even if the Rwanda scheme was working, even if it was having the deterrent effect that we all want, they would still scrap it. Because ultimately, they don't believe in border security. And they cannot be trusted to protect our borders. But this problem isn't going away. This is going to be one of the defining issues of the 21st century. There are millions of people on the move, some fleeing climate change and persecution, others economic migrants, understandably in search of a better life. And it's a great compliment to our country that so many want to come here. But it isn't sustainable. I'll give way to the right honourable lady in a moment. It isn't sustainable. We have to secure our borders. And that means that all the good work that we've done over the course of the last year, the Albania deal, the asylum backlog work, the deals with Bulgaria and France and Italy and others, that isn't enough. We're not going to stop the boat purely on that work. You have to interject the strongest possible deterrent and the best deterrent, the only deterrent that we can use in the course of the next 12 months is the Rwanda deal. And that is why it is so critical that we get that up and running. I genuinely believe, having immersed myself in this issue for 14 months, that this is a good policy, that it can work, and that it will help our country to fight back against this great scourge. And in my job, I have seen the consequences of that every day. I've been with my honourable friend, the member for Dover, to meet her constituents, whose homes have been broken into and whose lives have been ruined by illegal migrants. I've been with my right honourable friend, the member for Bournemouth, and I've read about his constituent who was murdered by an asylum seeker who posed as a child and then killed somebody on the streets of Bournemouth. I've worked with almost every member in this House on their determinations to close asylum hotels. Even the greatest advocates for open borders change their minds when there's an asylum hotel in their constituents. Hypocrisy is all over this issue. This is why we've got to fix this problem. And that's why I say, when I said whatever it takes, I meant it. And I honestly believe that that is shared by all of us on this side of the House and many good colleagues on the other side as well. To do that, we have to make sure this policy works. And this is a good faith disagreement. There are good people on both sides of this House, and certainly within my party, who have disagreements about how we can make this policy work. But my point of view is this. When untold damage is being done to our country, when this issue will be with us for years, if not decades to come, where if we do not operationalise this policy correctly, we will see the numbers rise, and we'll see them rise for many years to come. If, God forbid, there was a Labour government, there would be a decade of small boat arrivals. I want to stop that. There are two big flaws with this bill to my mind. The first one, as I've said to many people who've asked me, and I've said on the media, is that it doesn't address the question of individual claims. If I've learned anything in this job, it is this: that those seeking to frustrate their removal from our country will stop at nothing. The small boat chasing law firms and legal representatives will help them to find each and every way. Give them an inch, they'll take a mile. Even the best meant things that we've done as a country in recent years, like our world-leading modern slavery laws, are abused. 70% of those people who are seeking to remove put in a modern slavery claim at the 11th hour. I won't give way at the moment. Every time this is proven to be correct. So why would we not put into this bill a provision that says that those people cannot bring forward individual claims? I'll give way in a moment. And this means two things. Firstly, it means legal certainty, but secondly, it is for operational reasons. And I have not met anyone who really understands the operationalisation of this policy who does not believe it is critical to do this. Those advisers have told me time and again that this scheme will be seriously impeded. People will put in those claims. They will go to court. The upper-tier tribunal, which is already under pressure, will be overwhelmed. Our detention capacity, just a few thousand spaces, will be full. In a single week in August, 2,000 beds in our detention capacity could be filled. Those arrivals will go onto our streets. They'll abscond, as they always do, never to be seen again, and the scheme will be brought into quick disrepute. I don't want to see that happen. I'll give way to the Right Honourable Lady.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Though I have to say I'm not a Right Honourable, but thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I think the Right Honourable will be giving way. He casts aspersions on Labour's approach to this. He is in the presence of two former immigration ministers, myself and the Right Honourable member for Birmingham Hodge Hill. And when my Right Honourable friend was the member in charge of this, there was one person being returned every 8 minutes at the end of the last Labour government. I know from my own caseload that people who have reached the end of the line are still dribbling around the system, either, as others have raised, they want to actually leave the country. What was his record after 14 months as an immigration minister on returns?
Tenfold increase in the pace of asylum decision-making. So we have absolutely transformed the decision-making system. We've massively increased the number of returns. The Honourable Lady is on rocky ground, I'm afraid, on this one, and 22,000 people have been returned. But the difference between this side of the House and hers is that we have the guts and the determination to fix this problem once and for all. And that means interjecting the strongest possible deterrent. And I worry what would happen. I worry for this country if there was a Labour government, because I think we would see a massive increase in the number of small boat arrivals. The people smugglers would be celebrating if there was a Labour government. That is why it is so important to us on this side of the House that we use. I won't give way. I won't give way with all due respect, because I only have a few minutes left. We need to use the time that we have left in government before the general election. Of course, I hope we win the next general election, but the public are watching us. They expect us to fix this problem. So why would we not put into this bill all of the strongest protections that are at our disposal? The second important thing that needs to change in this bill is this. It is inevitable, in light of the Supreme Court's judgment, that the Strasbourg Court will impose further Rule 39 interim measures. That is, after all, what bedevilled my right honourable friend, the member for Whittam's, flight a year or so ago. We have to stop that. It is a matter of sovereignty for our country that ministers, acting on the instructions of Parliament, do not allow those flights to be delayed. The provision in the bill today is sophistry. It is the express policy of the government that Rule 39 injunctions are binding, and to ignore them would be a breach of international law. So we are being asked to vote for a provision which it would be illegal to use. I do not want to be in the position that my right honourable friend, the member for Whittam, whose determination I do not doubt, was in. I don't want my right honourable friend, the Home Secretary, or my successors as immigration minister to be in that position. We as a House are giving them a hard deal. We're doing them a disservice if we allow the bill to continue in that way. They must have the full power of Parliament to ignore those Rule 39 injunctions and to get those flights in the air. There are other things I know that others will contribute, not least my honourable friend, the member for Stone, and the work that he's done, drawing out some of the other challenges with this bill. But I'll close with this. This is not a bad bill, but it is not the best bill. I want this bill to work. The test of this policy is not, is it the strongest bill we've done? It's not, is it a good compromise? It's, will it work? That is all the public care about. They don't care about Rwanda as a scheme. They care about stopping the boats. And we are sent here to do that for them. I will never elevate contested notions of international law over the interests of my constituents, over vital national interests, like national security, like border security. This bill could be so much better. Let's make it better. Let's make it work.
SNP spokesperson Alison Thewlis.